here's some ideas for reporting status that is going to be more useful to both you, your reputation, your career, and to your management team and executives who need to know what's going on. Status reports are like weather reports. You look over the past couple days and maybe whatever facts you can get on Doppler radar and say, well, it's going to keep raining or it's not going to keep raining. It's going to get sunny, it's going to hail, who knows? The last few days are indicators, but they're in no way exact. The problem is many executives take your report as fact and say, well, you said it was going to be sunny today. Well, it's not. Things change. Now, I could go on forever about red, yellow, green reports. Almost all companies do them. Executives act like that's the holy grail. Are you green? Are you yellow? I'll jump in if it's yellow. If it's red, we're on fire. First of all, if you ask any executive what the difference between yellow and red is, usually they don't really know. And I'm not going to get into what I think is a good definition of it, because I'd prefer you get away from it altogether and work with your executives to better understand the actual facts that are happening on a project, and particularly the burnout charts. How much scope is increasing, and are we starting to level off, getting to the point where we want to launch? And then the second one would be a fine fix to see how many defects are coming in and how many are we fixing. Are those two coming together? Those are the two things that I hope your executives can learn how to read over time and bring up real questions, real conversations about what the project's really doing. Now, I know a lot of teams are not doing velocity these days. It's kind of out of fashion. I do recommend it for younger teams so they have a cadence they start to develop. Over time, more mature teams can just count the number of stories or the number of tickets if they want and use that as a guide to whether you're increasing, where you're decreasing, whether it's likely you're going to hit your launch date. Now, there's a whole nother conversation about what information is actually making up to your executives. I've been on many projects where I reported it was yellow or red, and by the time the report made it up to the executives, it was green. People had changed the metrics, they had changed the wording to the point where any executive reading it would think everything is hunky-dory when it's really not. Find 2 minutes in the hallway if you can to have a conversation about what's really happening on the project. Explain the graphs and the numbers and tell them what's going on. They're smart people. They've got there for a reason because they can read numbers, they can read charts. You can work with them to understand a burn up or a burn down. Now, keep in mind, project status is not only a report on the project, but it's a report on you and how you're managing the project. It really says this is your brand of how you communicate and how you run projects. All managers and executives are really doing are listening to your tone of voice. Do you got it? That's the only question that people are really asking when they want you to come in for status is, do you got it? I don't really want to know about the project, because even if there's a problem with the project, I really can't get in there and do anything. I want to know, are you keeping your ear to the ground and making sure if something does come up, you are coming up with a contingency plan to fix it? So the story you have to tell is you, as maybe the Obi-Wan Kenobi, the guide who's helped shepherding along this project. You want to be clear about the challenges that they've had. Tell that story, but then talk about the battles and the wins that it's had all along the way and how it's increasingly heading in the right direction. Now, if there are challenges coming up that you don't yet have the answer to, you've got to be clear about those too. Just like in any good movie, there's bombs to defuse. So you have to say, this is what's coming up. This is what we're doing. We're planning on snipping the red wire and not the blue wire. Hopefully we won't blow our fingers off in the process, but this is what's coming up. There is some suspense, but we think we've got it under control. Now, there's multiple levels. You need to make sure that they understand that you're going to be there the whole time as the story evolves and we get this child out the door, this project, but we also need their participation and get them engaged, get them enrolled in being part of this very complex process that happens when you deliver large technical projects.